And speaking of the holidays, they call this the most wonderful time of the year, but it doesn't always feel like that. In fact, for this year, it can be especially tough for anyone who has lost a loved one. And now a local program is helping people navigate all of it. Our Danita Harris is joining us live in Studio B with more. Hey, Danita.
Hi, Brissa. Thank you so much. Well, this program is called the Coexistence of Grace and Grief, and I'm honored to be the moderator for the event. And I'm joined this morning by the founder of Lorelle Faith, Kodi Pride, and Julia Ellifritt, who is a licensed social worker and works at Cornerstone of Hope. I'm so glad that both of you are here. Kodi's on the board at Cornerstone. But first of all, I just want to personally thank you for putting together something like this during this time of year. Kodi, grace and grief, the coexistence of both. Tell me how you came up with that.
Through my own story. In the loss of my daughter, I found God's grace, but I also dealt with such grief. And learning that grief has become a part of my life. When I looked at grace and how they coexist, that I can be happy and sad. I can be a believer, but still be in bereavement. I can deeply miss my child, but also celebrate the fact that she lives. So knowing that these things coexist have helped me to go forward day by day, and not to say I want to get rid of grief, but how can I coexist with this in a loving way and still be grace for tomorrow?
Yeah, and Julia, you're on the panel this weekend. Tell me, during this holiday season, what are some of the triggers of grief for people?
Well, holidays are usually about tradition, and tradition almost always includes family. So when a family member is missing, it kind of messes with our tradition. So if Grandpa always carved the turkey at Thanksgiving and now Grandpa's gone, it just challenges us to be able to live again with grace and grief. Joy and grief can coexist. We used to think that you had to grieve and be sad, and then you could be happy again. But we know now that you can do both. You can grieve and still celebrate the holidays and still do things that produce joy, even though you're still sad and grieving.
Yeah. So this panel tomorrow, and I'm so, thank you for inviting me to be the moderator. Tell me, what can people expect who are attending?
Oh, I am so excited, and thank you so much for accepting that. We have an amazing group of panelists. We have people who have dealt with extreme grieving situations, and they're going to share from that perspective of what they felt like, talk about their loved ones, give them that space to share. And then we will have an opportunity for people to just kind of breathe through it. And then we have panelists that will come on that's what they do. We have a chaplain who specializes in grief. We have Julia to talk about the resources like Cornerstone of Hope, where they deal with grief, and you can get therapy and understand that there's nothing weird about it. This is a part of life, and you join a community of grievers and know that you're not alone, because at Cornerstone we say no one should grieve alone. And then we also have a physician that will be on there, because grief, it does affect you also physically, mentally, emotionally, and psychologically. So just to give that understanding and provide, I would say, a grace space for people during the holiday.
Yeah, a grace space. And Julia, she says something key: breathe through it.
Yes.
You've met people. Tell me the importance of breathing through this.
Oh my gosh, because it's so overwhelming at times. I think the holidays can be overwhelming when you're not grieving, excuse me, but when you are grieving, it just adds that amount. Just that deep breath, breathe in and breathe out, is so important to calm us, to regulate our systems physiologically. Breathing through it is key.
And what is the benefit tomorrow when we're in a group of room that there are other people, me too, right?
Because you don't feel alone. All of a sudden, I know somebody else who went through a similar experience, and that community, that joint space is really, really powerful in the healing process.
Yes, and in your healing process, Kodi, you lost your daughter, and you started this foundation because of her. Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, I was blessed to have a daughter who was a miracle. And what many people don't know is I actually went through grief before she was even born. She had a rare disorder called trisomy 13, where the doctor said that she would not live. So I was preparing to have a stillborn, but she lived. And dealing with the fact of, oh, now I have to prepare for this child who has additional special needs. What does that look like? It changed our life. It changed our family in such amazing, beautiful ways. But I did grieve different things. I grieved the fact that she maybe would never walk. She would never maybe say mommy and different things. But when she passed, it took my breath away. And in that moment, I had to learn to breathe again, because with her last breath, I felt like I was taking mine. And I thought I was prepared because there were so many loss I felt, but no one can really prepare you for that moment. Right. But I was so happy that I didn't have to grieve alone, that it was nothing wrong with me saying, some days I'm just not okay.
Yeah.
In some moments I'm okay, and the next moment I could still cry. Yeah. So with this foundation, we bring awareness to healthcare initiatives and children with additional and special needs, but we also touch on grief and knowing that there's grace in it.
There is grace.
And we don't move on from this loss, we move forward with it.
Yes.
So we carry our person with us forever. Yeah. You're never done grieving, but you can live again. You can be joyful again. You move forward, you just don't move on.
Well, Kodi and Julia, what you are doing, what's going to happen tomorrow, I know it's going to help all of those who will attend. And here's the flyer. You see it here. The coexistence of grace and grief, as a lot of people are trying to get through these holidays. And thank you for turning your grief into something that you're helping so many other people, you know, get through it as well. I commend you for that. And I'm looking forward to tomorrow. Thank you both for being here today. And may you continue to do the work that's transforming lives. May you continue to do that. Thank you. Brissa, back to you.
All right, thank you, Danita. Tomorrow will help a lot of people, that's for sure.